Continuing from the previous episode 1725. Cough cough. Demon of Light? Seeing the shadowy figure bathed in the divine halo just a short distance away, Lord Li's soul raised his head with difficulty and said. At this moment, countless yellow sands rolled up in the desert hinterland of the sky, and at the end of a seam like a huge wave of sand and dust, a lonely and arrogant figure stood out. I don't know why, the Demon of Light has an extremely tyrannical hatred for himself. How could he suddenly show up today? What's more, this guy will actually save himself. Is the sun coming out west? One question after another plagued Lord Li's soul, but what the Lord Li's soul did not expect was that Xiao Sensheng, who lived in Xiao Yan's body, could actually use Xiao Yan's power to burst out such a tyrannical force, resisting his strongest blow. And even nearly inflicted fatal damage on himself. Demon of Light? With the sudden appearance of the Demon of Light, the battle between the evil Xiao Yan and the Master of Li's soul was temporarily separated, and Heisha Longling and Yu couldn't help but take a deep breath. The Demon of Light has already led the army to attack Li's soul territory for more than half a year. Although it has never surpassed the 7-star Do Xian powerhouse, it seems to be planning something, but that kind of battle has made the entire Li's soul territory panic, and the Devil Way's leader, the Demon of Light, never showed up. Now that the Devil of Light has appeared, and he is still saving the Lord of Li's soul from danger, the two of them can't help but be vigilant. The Lord of Li's soul is a domain master. If he joins forces with the Devil of Light, I'm afraid. The Devil of Light. Xiao Yan, who was in the deep pit, had just climbed out of the bottomless pit in the desert. He looked at the shadow beside the Lord of Souls indifferently, and lost his voice. The power of the Lord of Li's soul is beyond his imagination. Although he finally broke his thunder power, he could seriously injure him in a blink of an eye, but the Demon of Light jumped out halfway, which made the evil Xiao Yan's heart sink. Today's self is extremely weak, and I am afraid that I can no longer use the power of half-reincarnation. It will be extremely difficult to deal with a Demon of Light. After all, I just faced the full blow of the Lord of Souls, but it still consumes too much power. Do not misunderstand. I have nothing to do with this bastard. Looking at Xiao Yan's three people's astonished eyes, Qianying Woman's Demon of Light nodded lightly, and said casually. Then what are you? Lord Li's soul was also at a loss at this time. I have an undeniable feud with the Lord of Li's soul, and only I can kill him. The next moment, the Demon of Light's beautiful eyes threw at the Lord of Li's soul, and a sound of anger like a thunder in the sky filled the air. Come out. In an instant, the sand and dust did not stop. Accompanied by the voice of the Demon of Light, it roared violently, like an angry vicious dog, and the huge sand and dust waves were suffocating. Demon of Light, I have no grudges with you in the past and no enmity with you in the past. Why did you call the entire demon army to attack me in Li's soul domain? Listening to the words of the Light Demon, the Lord of Li's soul asked directly without losing his aura. Ha ha ha, Master Li's soul, you are really a noble person who forgets things too much. You still remember him. At that time, on the white palm of the Demon of Light, a beautiful scroll was thrown directly at the Lord of Li's soul. This is? How is it possible? The Lord of Li's soul didn't understand at first, but at this moment, he looked at the domineering man on the scroll, but his eyes became shocked. Demon of Light, wife of the Demon Emperor. So it is, so it is. After a while, Lord Li's soul roared frantically as if he knew the truth, his expression fluctuated, and he didn't even dare to look directly at the Demon of Light. On that day, I saw with my own eyes that you completely obliterated him. Today, I will use your life to pay homage to him. After a while, the Demon of Light spoke slightly, and the voice contained a trace of cold killing intent, sweeping out. That's evil intent. Xiao Yan and Heisha Longling looked at the domineering man on the scroll, but their brows were furrowed. Demon Emperor? Master? The two said almost in unison. On the scroll is a rather handsome man, with a contemptuous expression and angular facial features, standing with his hands behind his back, and under his dark green sleeves, there is a terrifying aura that transcends the heavens and the earth. No way. After a while, the Heishan Longling was suddenly surprised as if he remembered something. As the only ruler of the demon world, the Demon Emperor once obtained a wife when he was jointly sealed by the powerhouses of the three realms, and after the Demon Emperor was sealed, the wife also disappeared, but the Black Dragon Wolf still remembers it to this day. The demon emperor had specially instructed himself that he must find her, otherwise, after she knew the truth of the matter, she might do some unreasonable things. I can't believe that the demon of light is actually the wife of the demon emperor, so the demon emperor is also colluding with the evil race from outside the territory without authorization. It's right to die. Well deserved. Seeing the demon of light with such a violent aura, the master of the soul smiled slowly. However, the most puzzling thing for the Lord of Li's soul is that among the evil races outside the realm, almost the evil ones cannot have the aura of light at all. Now the power of the devil of light is as sacred as light. If the Lord of Li's soul guesses if there is nothing wrong, I am afraid that this belongs to the power of the Holy See in the human world. Ha ha ha, Lord of the Li soul, you will be stubborn even when you are about to die. Just use your death to pay homage to his spiritual body. Light, the demon of light, which was originally calm, was so agitated by the Lord of Soul Li, and layers of light burst out like ripples all over the body. In a short period of time, it completely wrapped the entire desert hinterland. Breath, inviolable, like the gods above. Damn it. With the demon of light's actions like this, the ghostly aura around Lord Li's soul plummeted, and even the power of Xiao Yan's weak and evil intention was rapidly weakened, and the light-based fighting chi for their suppression, unprecedented tyranny. The demon of light is the master's wife? Madam, the master has not fallen, you must not do stupid things. And looking at the demon of light in a state of anger, the Heisha dragon wolf can only temporarily defend itself. If it goes up against such a tyrannical fluctuation, I am afraid the black devil dragon wolf can only be seriously injured in an instant. At the beginning, the demon emperor was jointly sealed by the powerhouses of the three realms, and their demon world called the demon emperor's fall to the outside world, in order not to let the people with intentions take advantage of the fire. But how did they know that this voice reached the ears of the demon of light? And I don't know why the demon of light would read it. To that scene after scene, it changed his nature greatly. Originally, she was only a high-level person in the holy sea of the human world. After the private life with the demon emperor, the two separated and prepared to go back to settle the grievances of their respective forces, thus agreeing on a private lifelong date. But at that time, the two did not know their true identities. Unfortunately, the two had just separated, and the demon emperor was sealed. Therefore, the senior officials of the Holy See, through some special means, saw that the demon emperor was jointly sealed by the three world overlords. In a fit of rage, eager for revenge, he fell into the abyss and became a real demon of light. Now, summoning the demon guards to attack Li Soul domain is only to completely obliterate the Lord of Li Soul, and to avenge the husband who has fallen under the Lord of Li Soul. But the demon of light was kept in the dark from the beginning, so he made mistakes again and again, because he did not know that the demon emperor was known to be immortal, so he was wiped out by the overlords of the three realms and did not completely fall, but unfortunately she did not know that's all. At this moment, the rays of light descended, and countless sacred breaths emerged, as if the gods were punishing the criminals. The strength of the demon of light was infinitely magnified, and vaguely, directly touched the reincarnation. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1726. Countless rays of light emerged, and immediately paved the way for the devil of light. The pure white rays of light turned into white dresses, decorating the devil of light's breath as extremely sacred, serious, and inviolable. Bright saint clothes? How is that possible? Looking at the demon of light surrounded by white dresses, Lord Li's soul couldn't help but lose his voice. Bright holy clothing. This is not only an armed force, but also an armor. After wearing it, the strength will increase significantly. Perhaps the strength of the demon of light has not yet reached the level of samsara, only the 8-star fighting immortal, but now that the light saint cloak is added, it has slowly turned into a scene of white armor wrapped in countless ancient runes. The white armor was transformed by the dress, sacred and incomparably pure. After the breath of the demon of light was pushed to the peak. Half-time. After a while, a pair of milky white wings slowly spread out at the top of a huge sand wave. With a slender figure, he was wearing white armor. The white armor completely dispelled the countless gloomy atmospheres in the entire desert, and his body was as dazzling as the sun. The demon of light under half-reincarnation. Bastard. Looking at such a terrifying demon of light, the corners of his mouth kept wriggling, and the sacred incantations continued to permeate. After a while, they turned into countless white halos, illuminating the entire desert hinterland, and even countless people in the desert. Elements, energy, all quietly crawled down in an instant, just like welcoming the real goddess of light. Damn it! Light devil, stop me! Are you going to destroy this place? Seeing the sacred energy becoming more solid and brighter, the illusory soul body of the Lord of Souls couldn't help trembling. Even if he touches reincarnation, if the demon of light in front of him unleashes such a terrifying attack, his only end will be destruction. Ha ha ha! Li Hun, when you joined the powerhouses of the three realms to kill him, how could you ever be soft-hearted? So, I just want you to taste the pain of Wangguang's Soul Eater. Even this kind of pain is not as good as 1/10,000th of what he suffered back then. Today you will surely die. Seeing the panic that only appeared on the face of Lord Li's soul, the demon of light smiled. Ever since she knew that the demon emperor had completely fallen, she had abandoned her status as a high-ranking member of the Holy See, and left the Holy See desperately. From the goddess of light, who was admired by the world, she was reduced to the demon of light who is now spurned by the world. Countless pain and torture, who knows? But all of this is not important. As long as you can completely obliterate the Lord of Li's soul and avenge him, even if it is broken, what is there to be afraid of? But today, the demon of light came with the determination to die, and the purpose was to perish with the Lord of Li's soul. The demon of light, the demon emperor, is not dead. Today you are so aggressive. If you are known by the demon emperor, I am afraid that he will also feel sorry for you, and then you will be truly separated. Furthermore, Li's soul territory, is not a place where you foreigners can run wild. The Lord of Li's soul forcibly restrained the anger in his heart and roared. Not dead? I have seen it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. How can it be fake? As of now, in the name of the God of light, I will judge you thoroughly. Go to *** with all your remorse. You shouldn't provoke him, and you shouldn't take the initiative to join forces with other two world powerhouses to obliterate him. The forbidden technique of light. Light judgment demon sword. The high-pitched chant sounded violently, like a sacred voice that purifies the evil in the world, and it sounded completely in the desert hinterland. For a time, the demon of light was wearing white armor and blowing Buddha, and countless milky white ancient texts, like with life, it beats slowly, and outlines the entire desert hinterland. Even in front of this power, other powerhouses appear as small as ants. Mad. Looking at the demon of light who was in madness and did not hesitate to activate the forbidden technique, the face of the master of the soul finally showed an extremely solemn look. Forbidden. The word insignificance contains some kind of supreme power, because only the Holy See has such a level. The so-called forbidden arts are the same as those of the top-level immortal arts in the Great Thousand World, but there is no division of immortal arts in the Holy See, and immortal arts are equal to forbidden arts. The only difference between the two is that in the display of the forbidden technique, only the real high-level people in the Holy See who have been intimated by the angels. Once the forbidden technique is used, thousands of miles of land will be turned into nothingness. Within 100 years, no grass will grow, and it will even turn into a ruined area unsuitable for any human beings to survive. It may be rude to say that the forbidden technique is the strongest fighting technique under the divine technique. And this kind of forbidden technique can only be performed by the supreme power of the Holy See. Alas, looking at the furious demon of light provoked by the Lord of Souls in just a few words, the Heishan Longling couldn't help clenching his fists tightly. He is loyal to the demon emperor, and his life is also given by the demon emperor. No matter what today, he must protect Xiao Yan and the demon of light, even if his body is shattered, but if he wants to tell the truth, only after this forbidden technique has completely arrived. Because once the forbidden spell begins to be cast, it cannot be interrupted unless the caster dies. Light element forbidden technique, the strongest single attack. Bright judgment sword. The evil Xiao Yan on the side controlled his body and leaned towards the black dragon wolf. The dark cloak behind him emitted bursts of strong fluctuations, protecting the three of them. Even Xiao Sensheng is helpless at this time, and then he can only wait for the forbidden technique to be used safely. Madman, madman, madman. Looking at the rising aura, the demon of light with half-reincarnation level power in a short period of time looking at the top of his head, an amber-colored handle the size of 100 meters. The divine sword of light was slowly taking shape, and the master of Li Soul couldn't help but scolded. Once the forbidden technique is displayed by the demon of light, I am afraid that this place will turn into a pile of ruins, and it will not be able to recover for 100 years and 1,000 years, and this is the base camp of Li Hanyu. And he can only endure secretly this kind of thing. Anyone will be violent. The devil of light, you forced me. Seeing the division of light so bold, the expression of the master of the soul began to change, from a face full of fear to apathy, even a madness, and this madness among them. There is even a disdain, as if the attack of this demon of light does not pose any threat. After a while, his pupils turned into a rare pink. At the same time, he was not looking at the demon of light who was using the forbidden technique, because he knew that with his power, he could not shake it in the slightest, but the corners of his mouth changed. Got crazy. Wan soul art. With a light snort, countless yellow sands emerged above the desert hinterland, and immediately turned into a line of yellow sand soldiers wearing armor, standing solemnly beside the Lord Li Soul. Not good. At this moment, Xiao Yan, who was hiding in his soul realm, suddenly noticed something and lost his voice. What's going on? Xiao Sensheng has been replying to his strength since the demon of light appeared, and now asked Xiao Yan in the Do Chi Si. He doesn't want to devour acacia and broken enteritis. A crazy thought filled Xiao Yan's heart. Keep it for me, Zai Du roared, and the pink flame that had been standing quietly on the palm of the Lord of Soul Li was thrown directly into his soul body. With such an appearance, the Lord of Li Soul actually wants to directly devour acacia broken enteritis? Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1727. Not good. This guy is really going to devour acacia broken enteritis. Seeing the Lord of Li Soul's actions, Xiao Yan, who was in the world of Do Chi, lost his voice. Xiao Yan knew that acacia broken enteric inflammation was a rather mysterious holy flame among holy flames. If the method mastered by the master of the soul is swallowed by him, the consequences may be unimaginable. Hey, there really is no way. At this moment, Yu shook his head slightly. Obviously there was nothing he could do. The current master of Soul Li has mastered the method of swallowing the holy flame with the soul body, and even the restraint method that their soul academy is proud of has been completely cracked. Yu has always wondered why the Lord of Soul Li did not swallow the holy flame. It turned out to be reserved as a backup, because if the master of Li's soul seizes Xiao Yan, then the effect of swallowing acacia flame will be even higher. Today's soul body swallowing, the power is naturally not comparable to the perfection of human body swallowing. At this moment, the Lord of Li's soul is already in the real semi-reincarnation realm. Once he is swallowed by acacia and broken enteric disease, he breaks through to the real reincarnation. I am afraid that the forbidden technique of the demon of light will not be able to cause serious damage to him. Even Xiao Sensheng and the demon of light, 2.5 reincarnations to deal with the master of the soul under reincarnation, have no chance of winning. Reincarnation, half reincarnation, the difference is one word, but it is very different. And most importantly, once he is successfully swallowed by the Lord of Souls, he will be reborn as a real human from a soul that cannot condense a human body. If you ask the Lord of Li Soul at that time, I am afraid that he will become the real Xian, the most powerful person that the Lord of Li Soul has never seen before. Boom! It takes a lot of time to display the forbidden technique, and within this time, the demon of light is like a goddess of light under the protection of the holy clothes of light. She interrupted her display, and the Lord of Li's soul was also completely wrapped by a pink energy ripple because of the devouring of acacia broken enteritis. The power of the domain that comes with acacia broken enteritis. After a while, the emptiness of Lord Li's soul was completely enveloped by pink flames, apparently entering the realm to devour acacia and broken enteritis. The power of that realm makes it impossible to detect, or even break into it. For a time, in the sky, the aura of supreme light gathered crazily. At the same time, a scene of pink flames in the void was also brewing some kind of tyrannical power, but the whole body of the two contained a kind of immeasurable power. Terrifying power, daunting. There is no doubt that the battle situation will be completely disintegrated no matter who is the first to succeed. I didn't want to do this, but unfortunately I was forced to help. Although this will make my later plans a lot of trouble, but boy, remember. The things in your body are tailor-made for me, you can't die. Just when the master of Li's soul had just submerged into the void of pink flames, a voice transmission from the soul poured into Xiao Yan's Do Chi Si. This shocked Xiao Yan's soul. It was obviously the last voice left by the Lord of Li's soul, and from this hideous voice, Xiao Yan could easily tell that the Lord of Li's soul had absolute confidence in entering the cycle of reincarnation. Hey! After the rest, the place returned to calm, but at this moment, Xiao Yan's eyes were gloomy. Obviously, they did not expect this situation, otherwise the demon of light would not strike. At this time the Lord of Li's soul has been completely defeated. Let's go, we must go now. After a few breaths, the evil Xiao Yan said in a deep voice, and only when he reached the level of half-reincarnation did he understand the current situation. He originally lived in the clan lines of the Xiao clan, and entered Xiao Yan's body by chance. Now he was finally awakened by Xiao Yan, but in the battle just now, he had consumed too much power. Only the 8-star fighting immortal level strength, once the Devil of Light and the Lord of Li's soul are freed, the price will be quite heavy, and the 10 Palace Yan Luo is only himself awakened by Xiao Yan. No matter what, neither himself nor Xiao Yan can death, the other 9 powerhouses still need them to wake up. I can't go. I have to take the demon of light back, because he is my master's wife. If this misunderstanding is not resolved, I will be ashamed of my master. Heisha Longling smiled slyly. Death was nothing to him. Fear, the bright fighting intent in his eyes permeated. I'm not leaving either. Yu shook his head slightly. He naturally wanted to protect him at the last moment. If the Lord of Li's soul breaks through the cycle of reincarnation, with her fierceness, she can only die, so he really wanted to witness Li's soul's death with his own eyes. Whether the Lord is reborn or fallen. Oh, I leave the body to you, I'll take a rest. Xiao Senshen could only shake his head when he heard the words, and immediately lived in Xiao Yan's soul realm, and handed over the control of his body to Xiao Yan. This guy, Lord of Li's soul, devours holy flames like this, so there will be no sequelae? Xiao Yan just regained control, clenched his fists tightly, and couldn't help saying. There are no sequelae. If you talk about sequelae, it was already a sequela when he was weak just now. Unfortunately, the Master of Soul is cautious by nature, and there is nothing to do now. Yu waved his hand weakly. Senior, thank you for what happened in the past. Listening to Yu's words, Xiao Yan nodded happily, and cast his eyes towards the Heisha dragon wolf. Hey, I almost forgot about the business. This time I came out of the demon realm to find you. If there is time after the ghost realm is over, I hope you will come back to the demon realm with me. Heishan Longling scratched his head and grinned. No problem. Xiao Yan nodded with a smile. Even Xiao Yan vaguely felt that his trip to the demon world should be related to the so-called demon emperor. Next, just wait quietly after some conversation, Yu whispered. I'm afraid, it's not that simple. Am I right, Master of the West God Temple? After a while, Xiao Yan smiled casually, his eyes on the golden sand above the desert hinterland. Crack. With a sound, the yellow sand at the bottom of the desert's hinterland trembled strangely, and a dark gate of space suddenly appeared above the desert. Ha ha ha! Such a keen sense of smell. As expected of the guy named by the Lord of Li's soul to be on guard against. As Xiao Yan's voice fell, hundreds of black shadows poured out like worms from the gate of space above the desert. Fang Hao, the master of the West Temple. Hua Xiao, the head of Li Hunwei. Familiar names emerged from Yu's mouth. Master Li's soul is really well prepared for this reincarnation road. Looking at the 100-strong men in front of him, Heishan Longling laughed suddenly, and the demonic aura spread out into the sky. He knew that these hundreds of black shadows were all elites in the temple, and their strength was almost in the ranks of the 6-star fighting immortals, and even the 8-star fighting immortals. There were 4 of them. On the order of the Lord of Li's soul, to capture Xiao Yan, the most wanted person in Li's soul domain, who is blocking the road. Kill it! Hundreds of strong men lined up, and Fang Hao's expression became distorted, and a sinister smile with victory in his hand spread out. At this moment, there is only a Heisha Longling in the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortal, and Yu who has the strength of the 8-star fighting immortal in the early stage, and Xiao Yan, who is only a 5-star fighting immortal. How to deal with the elites in this Western temple, and Li's soul guard. Those were 4 8-star fighting immortals. As for the 2 voids above the desert hinterland, they are changing all the time. Once the transformation is completed, I am afraid that this place will evolve into a real purgatory. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1728. Xiao Yan, if I knew about today, why was it in the first place? Fang Hao stood on the desert floor, the yellow sand filled the air, and the power of thunder emerged behind him, smiling. This time, even Xiao Yan had a hard time flying. I expected it a long time ago. Xiao Yan was not surprised and smiled slightly. He knew his own situation. I am afraid that today's situation was already doomed when he appeared in the holy tan of the Undying. However, in order to revive Mu Yingying, Xiao Yan must have Acacia heartbroken, so this Longtan Tiger's Den, no matter what, must come. And even Xiao Yan didn't know it, her senior sister Hao Nier was aware of the conspiracy of the Master of Soul Li, so she left behind, but Xiao Yan didn't know that. Now that you know, let's capture it. Fang Hao said with a smile. There are many holy flames on Xiao Yan's body. The Master of Li Soul personally promised himself, and he could even pass on the method to his soul body to devour holy flames. All these have taken their hearts and made them completely reduced to willing thugs. Come on, Xiao Yan said with a smile, his eyes became sharp. Even if he was dead, Xiao Yan would not give up his struggle, because his blood originates from the blood of the Xiao family, from the blood in the depths of his soul. Allow, little guy. The situation is changing now. I will lend you some of my power. It will allow you to have the power of the 8-star Do Xian in a short period of time, and then it's up to you. I have to regain my strength. I have a hunch that there will be a big move from the Lord of Souls. After the breath, Xiao Sensheng, who was hidden in Xiao Yan's soul realm, said righteously. If the Lord of Soul Li really breaks through the reincarnation, I am afraid that what awaits them is a situation of destruction. So Xiao Sensheng must restore his strength when the Lord of Soul Li devours Acacia and broken enteritis, and perhaps use some terrifying means through time. For self-protection. Protecting Xiao Yan means protecting yourself. After all, the other 9 Yamas still exist in the lines of Xiao Yan's clan. Once Xiao Yan is captured by the Lord of Li Soul, their Xiao clan may never be able to turn over, and Xiao Sensheng is the 10 Temple of Yama. The Hall of the 5 Kings must stop this kind of thing from happening. Thank you, Senior. These are all hidden by the medicine pills of the juniors. Seniors, please don't refuse. In an instant, on the palm of Xiao Yan's hand, the Emperor Yanji pushed Xiao Sensheng. It is a pity that Xiao Yan's strength is weak, but Xiao Sensheng may have a solution. This is the Emperor Flame Ring? Good boy. Then, the ecstatic voice emerged, and immediately behind Xiao Sensheng, the black-patterned holy robe fell off, floated out of the soul realm, and went towards Xiao Yan. On the other hand, Emperor Xiao Yan's flame ring was also injected into the soul realm. For a time, Xiao Sensheng stared at the Di Yan ring, and the secrets on it were also discovered little by little. The supreme power of darkness. The palms rubbed together, touching the sacred weapon from the underworld. Xiao Yan smiled slowly. She could feel the power of the sky reaching profoundness contained in the dark holy clothes. Not good. Hua Xiao, stop him. You can't let him wear this evil robe. Seeing the evil robe that suddenly appeared in Xiao Yan's hands, Fang Hao's face suddenly shook violently, because although he had never seen the battle between Li Soul Master and Xiao Sensheng just now, but with the power of his 8-star fighting immortals, he felt a genuine threat from this evil robe. Being able to make himself in the middle of the 8-star fighting immortals feel enormous pressure is enough to show the extraordinariness of this evil attire. Ha ha ha! Let me come to the head of the hall, Li Hungard. Just as Hua Xiao's armor buzzed, just as he was about to act, the silhouette of Yu Ur floated up and instantly enveloped Hua Xiao. Damn it! Left and right guardians, stop him! Fang Hao roared when Hua Xiao was temporarily stopped, and the 2 remaining 8-star Do Xian early stage roared out, raising their palms and shooting at Xiao Yan. Go! The power contained in that terrifying aura turned out to be a sense of fragmentation in the entire desert void. Bang bang bang! The seemingly tyrannical attack was completely intercepted by a dark green demonic energy. The 2 of them. Leave it to me. The Black Devil Dragon Wolf stopped the terrifying blow and immediately smiled at Xiao Yan. Leave this asterisk to me. Seeing Heisha Longling and Yu are working so hard, looking at the void around their body, the brewing of the forbidden technique and the breath of the pink flame were intensifying, Xiao Yan slowly laughed. It's really a miscalculation, but even if you have this kind of evil thing, you can't escape today. Seeing that the 8-star fighting immortals around him were all involved, Fang Hao roared. As for the other powerhouses and souls of the West Temple, Wei, on the other hand, stands vigilantly around the desert hinterland, keeping the protection here tight. The battles of the 8-star fighting immortals, not the 6-star fighting immortals or even a few 7-star fighting immortals, can participate, but once there are any changes in the 3 battles, these elites will become real knives and axemen, and the losers will be completely eliminated. Beheaded. Black patterned holy clothes. Add body. Seeing the current situation, Xiao Yan did not hesitate, bit the corner of his mouth suddenly, pointed his index finger up to the sky, a drop of scarlet blood scattered from the index finger, and immediately dripped onto the black patterned holy robe. Tick-tock tick, a heart-shattering voice filled the air, and immediately the black patterned holy robe, like a black robe, seemed to have been pulled by some kind of special pull. Xiao Yan's body is wrapped around Xiao Yan's body. At the same time, Xiao Yan's strength has also skyrocketed from the 4-star fighting immortal. 5-star fighting immortals. 6-star fighting immortal. It took a few breaths to reach the initial stage of 8-star fighting immortal before it slowly stopped. Humph. With the help of the increase of evil things, it has only reached the initial stage of the 8-star Do Xian, and it is still a tasteless strength. And even if you reach the 8-star Do Xian, so what? My dignified 8-star Do Xian midterm strength has been in existence for 100 years. I have mastered and understood the power of 8-star Do Xian, so that the fighting skills that I have mastered are not comparable to those of you, a hairy boy. The clown jumping beam, no matter how he swings, he can't turn the sky, because he is always the clown jumping beam. Fang Hao smiled, looking at Xiao Yan being protected by evil black clothes, like a real asterisk of war. But so what? It's just a vain appearance, and it can't help but take a blow. That may not be the case. Xiao Yan knew the current situation, his eyes tightened, and he sneered. Because what Fang Hao said is true, even now with the help of Xiao Sensheng, his strength has temporarily skyrocketed to the early stage of 8-star Do Xian, but if he wants to face Fang Hao in the middle stage of 8-star Do Xian, the gap is too great, whether it is combat power. Control is still the power of fighting skills, so Xiao Yan knows his weaknesses, but Xiao Yan also knows his strengths. Because Fang Hao forgot that he was the master of the Holy Flame. And that extremely terrifying Holy Flame is not 1, but 3, or even 4. In the past, Xiao Yan had many scruples, and he never really fused with the Holy Flame, and even did not display the strongest fighting skills under the fusion of all the Holy Flames. Holy Flame, Buddha's Wrath Fire Lotus. That was Xiao Yan's last and strongest support. Moreover, Xiao Yan is confident enough to use his strength in the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortal to perform the fusion of Holy Flames, not to mention Fang Hao in the middle stage of the 8-star fighting immortal. Even if he is the Lord of Li Soul, he still has enough prestige. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1729. The feeling of winning. Fang Hao joked, looking at Xiao Yan whose eyes were sluggish. It's too early to say this now. After a while, the dark liquid was condensing, and the black patterned holy garment was completely formed behind Xiao Yan like a cloak. Above is the endless power of darkness, the power of darkness, full of evil, shocking the soul. Then let you see. What is the real 8-star fighting immortal? Thunder. Seeing Xiao Yan's dazzling smile, Fang Hao waved his arms, and the ground in the desert hinterland suddenly changed violently. In an instant, the power of thunder, like thunder snakes, surrounded his body, like a real the judge of Xiao Yan is watching Xiao Yan, and once Xiao Yan has any changes, he will make a final judgment. Being stared at by such a strong person, coupled with the spread of the terrifying fluctuations, a sense of unease spread from Xiao Yan's body, but fortunately, the isolation of the black patterned holy clothes did not affect Xiao Yan much. It's this situation again. Remember the last time, it was a girl who sacrificed for me. Xiao Yan touched his heart through the black patterned holy robe, and said softly, with a rare calmness and relief in his voice. But the strange thing is that at this time, the Shengen heart that Mu Yingying transformed into did not have any violent fluctuations, but was extremely quiet, just like a very quiet wife. No matter what her husband did, she would be unreserved. Support and encourage him. Do you also believe that I will succeed? After a while, Xiao Yan said to himself, regardless of how dazzling Fang Hao's attack was. Wang buzzing. At this moment, his heart was beating violently, and he responded fiercely to Xiao Yan, as if he was talking about her unreserved support and trust. It's nice to meet you, but I won't die until I resurrect you. So, let's start. After the blink of an eye, Xiao Yan's pupils became deep, and a burst of self-confidence from the depths of his soul burst out, like a god. What the asterisk is this guy doing? Fang Hao was naturally brewing an extremely tyrannical attack, but seeing Xiao Yan's strange behavior, he became vigilant. Yan exists as one at the same time, and it is the guy who was named and guarded by the Lord of Li's soul, so it is worth Fang Hao's serious treatment. Thunder Soul Seal. Seeing Xiao Yan so strangely standing in the middle of the desert, motionless, and even a strange breath permeated, Fang Hao didn't hesitate. The silver thunder was attached to his palm like the setting sun, and immediately a huge white net shrouded his body densely. Sharp claws appeared in the white net of thunder, and the piercing sound of thunder resounded for 9 days. If such a terrifying attack fell on Xiao Yan, he would be seriously injured if he did not die. Since you want me to see the real 8-star fighting immortal, then in return, I will also let you see what the real Saint Flame Controller is. Fire. A voice containing crazy fluctuations penetrated the sky and scattered directly into the desert. What happened? A strong and violent flame slowly emerged. Fang Hao, who had displayed a terrifying offensive, saw this, his expression stunned. He did not attack rashly, and stared at Xiao Yan. With the blessing of the dark clothes, Xiao Yan's fighting chi has reached the early stage of the 8-star fighting immortals. His dark pupils are staring at Fang Hao, and he can perceive the huge thunder net and thunder claws around Fang Hao. After a short while, Xiao Yan suddenly decided something, and his slender, pale hands slowly stretched out from under the shroud of the dark cloak. This guy. What the asterisk is he doing? Although the Heisha Longling was evenly matched to deal with the 2 8-star fighting immortals, seeing Xiao Yan's strange behavior, he couldn't help but wonder. Xiao Yan's hands were like ordinary women's. They were just good-looking and had no power. However, this strange behavior made the strong people present feel that something was wrong. Fire Heart Tianyan. Sheng Yanjing. He ignored Fang Hao's hesitation. Since he wanted to see it, let him be optimistic. As soon as the voice fell, the khaki flame jumped like a elf on the left and right hands. A prismatic holy flame crystal, containing supreme divine power, emerged together, even after the appearance of this khaki flame, in the entire desert. There was a strong sense of heaviness, and the void was burned and illusory. Holy Yan. Fang Hao couldn't help licking his dry face when he looked at Xiao Yan under such a move. The holy flame is the supreme sacred object in the world. Once they win this battle, Fang Hao will also have a holy flame. When he thinks of this, Fang Hao can't stop laughing gloomily. This time, fortunately, there is strength to turn the tide. So, Fire Heart Tianyan, fuse. He ignored the others. At this time, Xiao Yan seemed to be silent in his own world, slowly merging the khaki flame and the holy flame crystal. At that time, the power of holy flame would completely disappear. Out loud, this is the strongest power of Sheng Yan. Ghostface and Soul Flame, come out for me. The next moment, without any hesitation, his hands trembled, and the khaki flame that roared like a fierce beast instantly fell off the palm of his hand and attached to Xiao Yan. Flame crystals are emerging. How could? It's actually a Ghostface and Soul Flame. Looking at the Cyan Flame and Cyan Holy Flame crystal on Xiao Yan's palm, Fang Hao's expression finally became greedy. The Ghostface Soul Flame was undoubtedly more attractive to them than many other things. Fuse me. With a cold snort, the Cyan Flame and the Holy Flame crystals were merging, and they were also suspended in Xiao Yan's body. It was just the power that filled it. Even Fang Hao's expression changed. Immortal Fire. Without any hesitation, his expression was extremely solemn. The Gray Flame and Saint Flame crystal appeared in the sky, and they were the same fusion, and immediately attached to Xiao Yan's body. The fusion of Holy Flame and Holy Flame crystal is the strongest posture of Holy Flame. Today, the khaki, cyan, and gray flames have turned into 3 fiery beasts of the size of 100 meters, Violently shaking Xiao Yan's body, the power revealed invisibly turned the void into a twisted, as if it would be completely burned into nothingness at any time. 3 holy flames, I have to say, you are the strongest person I have ever seen, but it's a pity it's over. Seeing Xiao Yan's arrogant attitude, Feng Hao didn't dare to take it lightly. The dazzling Thunder Giant net and Thunder Giant claws became more and more bright, faintly revealing an extremely tyrannical Xeon fluctuation. Hoo, it's not enough. Xiao Yan roared as he saw the sacred aura that burst out from the 3 holy flames. Gululu. Following Xiao Yan's roar, a pool of azure blue liquid slowly flowed out from the heart, and finally turned into a group of azure blue flaming beasts that were violently burning and shaking, rapidly spinning around Xiao Yan's body. However, this azure blue holy flame, the holy flame crystal, was stored by Xiao Yan. After all, this thing is very important. Once the holy flame crystal is merged by Xiao Yan, I am afraid that Mu Yinying will never have the light of day. 4 holy flames. It's incredible. 4 holy flames. It seems that the Lord of Li Soul has missed the point. Seeing Xiao Yan's strong posture, Feng Hao's body was covered with mysterious silver lines, and with the appearance of this thing, Feng Hao's whole body appeared. The Thunder Giant net and Thunder Giant claws were actually filled with extremely obscure lines. Obviously, Xiao Yan, who now has 4 holy flames, has already made Feng Hao feel a huge oppression. What the asterisk is this guy doing? Hundreds of elites around the desert hinterland below felt a chill in their hearts. They knew that they were now surrounded by 4 holy flames, and even possessed the initial strength of 8-star Do Xian in a short period of time. Xiao Yan has the supreme power to obliterate all of them. At this moment, Xiao Yan is like the ruler of heaven and earth. The world is pale. If the 4 holy flames are spread out by him, I am afraid that the power of the gods is mighty and no one can match. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis.